Video games connect with audiences for all sorts of reasons. Some provide a stunning, open-world journey. Some create an innovation never before considered. Some have deep, responsive control schemes that make them addicting to play. Some have exciting multiplayer experiences. And some are just in the right place at the right time. That is where we find Incoming. We discussed in the Mortal Kombat Gold episode about how quickly the advancements in aesthetics and graphical fidelity were moving in the late 1990s. That game felt exciting and fresh in 1997, but by the time it got to the Dreamcast in September of 1999, it felt stale and dated, even as it technically looked the best it had ever looked, thanks to that tech progress and a lack of real structural depth. Incoming, also known as Incoming: The Final Conflict, was released on PC in March of 1998 to rapturous praise, mostly for how phenomenal the game looked visually. But that attention was almost entirely because it came out mere weeks after the release of 3DFX's Voodoo 2 graphics chip, which provided advancements in graphical quality that people hadn't seen before. In some cases, the game was bundled with the chip as the best example of its graphical capabilities. The only complaint from any of the major outlets was from IGN, who couldn't get their computer to run it properly. But technology moves like lightning, and by the time Incoming reached the Dreamcast on American shores, as one of the first post-launch releases in September 1999, 3DFX had not only released the Voodoo 3 chip, a hugely successful product that immediately fully eclipsed the Voodoo 2 in every way, but had released a half-dozen beefed-up amendments to it as well. Incoming no longer looked cutting-edge impressive, and would have to stand or fail on its actual foundational merits. Other games released for the PC in 1998 include Half-Life, EverQuest, Grim Fandango, Baldur's Gate, and Thief: The Dark Project. If you're wondering why you might not be as familiar with Incoming as you might be with those, it's because Incoming's actual foundational merits are pretty slight. The plot is as basic as you can conjure. Aliens are attacking bases, and you gotta defend against them and take them out by shooting and shooting and shooting at them. I give the game credit for conjuring up 6 individual locales, but each level is fundamentally the same. Sometimes you're defending, sometimes you're attacking, sometimes you're doing both, but you're always just shooting and shooting. The controls are sort of shaggy and imprecise, and it took a long time for me to get used to how to navigate the planes in a way that allowed me full range of movement. Incoming's developer, the UK-based Rage Software, was also the developer of Expendable, another mindless wave shooter with a bizarre, control-based Achilles heel that made the game unfun to play, even though it looked fairly nice. Rage would retreat back to the soccer and racing titles that were their bread and butter shortly hereafter, and mostly leave the shooters to others. In 2000, they also attempted to expand into publishing, but a few of their key titles underperformed, and the company went bankrupt just a few years later. Around this time, there was a wave of modern, three-dimensional remakes of classic Golden Age arcade games, and almost all of them took what made those games work and dumbed it down and flattened it out. The graphics were more contemporary, but the controls, the action, was lacking. Those games connected with old-school audiences because they were fun to play. Incoming resembles an attempt to modernize Atari's 1980 classic, Missile Command. which, of course, got an even more maligned actual official modernization shortly after Incoming's release. But Incoming failed just the same. It's not really interesting, it's not really fun, and its graphics are such that it's hard to find anything that could send reviewers gaga at any time but the exact moment it tumbled in front of them. Good graphics fade, but good control endures. And now, in the light of the future looking back, Incoming, unfortunately, doesn't appear to have either. Next time, you want characters from Marvel comic books to fight characters from Capcom games? How could that possibly work?